Hey guys, and welcome to another podcast from the Idiots with Internet.
We're back.
Ah,
What's up, everybody? I'm here with Pat, as usual. Pat, how you doing today, bud?
I'm doing great, man. I don't drink a whole lot of coffee, but I do like anytime we're gonna do a recording. So I'll feel the friggin' power, man.
Yep. Yep. I usually
uh,
butt chug a cup myself, just to keep everything lubed up and, gears running.
yeah, I eat a lot of meat, so keeping things lubed up isn't quite an issue as far as that goes. But
True that.
yeah, man, I do Mio with caffeine
Mm.
because you got to make sure you get that water intake, and it's got some like B vitamins and all your electrolytes, and then just a little dash of caffeine to get you going.
Yeah, we're not even sponsored by Mio, but let me tell you, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's stuff's slick. They got all sorts of different flavors and stuff. Some people talk shit about it though because the whatever sweetener they use.
Not
Some people,
aspartame, right? I
no, I
thought they
don't know
didn't
what's
use
in
that.
it.
Like, I thought that was their shtick.
I honestly would have to go in the other room and get the stuff, but with
Yeah,
all the things I've put in my body, Mio is probably the least of my issues.
for
As I'm
real.
sitting here smoking a fucking Camel, like
Yeah. Oh, Camels are the best cigarettes.
the reason I like Camels because it tastes like dirt.
Yeah,
When I
they
first
have a
started
real nice
smoking,
earthy flavor.
yeah, yeah, it feels like they really do come from the Virginia soil,
Mm.
or I don't know where the fuck these things probably
I think it's a mix, like it's Turkish,
North Carolina.
something in North Carolina, something like that, yeah, or just
Yeah,
North
yeah.
Carolina.
But when they say Turkish blend, that means it's just like
It
the
could be like,
strain
yeah,
of the
yeah,
tobacco.
like the tobacco isn't
Yeah.
actually being grown in fucking Turkey. I don't think Turkish people are growing tobacco out in the desert, bro.
No, for sure. No,
I think they're
I
growing
was
like opium and shit, right?
yeah, yeah.
And like
They're
missiles, right? Don't
yeah, they're
they grow
growing weapons
missiles?
of mass destruction.
Oh fuck! All right,
I'm
man.
farming potatoes and IEDs.
Um,
Jesus.
So I
Yeah,
wanted
well.
to talk to you today a little bit about you and to get our viewers and listeners, or well, yeah, our listeners, because we don't have any visuals yet, really.
Yeah, right.
To get to know my buddy Pat a little more. I think we've done a bit of this with like your grandparents and such, but I don't think we've talked much about you as a person or about you growing up. So like, you kind of had a tough time growing up, like not the average like middle class person
Mm,
around, or
yeah.
even the average semi poor. It was a bit different for you.
Yeah,
Um,
right.
tell us about it.
Uh, a vague start, but I'll see what I can do. So, I grew up a poor black boy. Wait, sorry, wrong story. Um, uh, if anybody's seen The Jerk, you know where I was going. So, I was grew up in I was born in Willimantic in Connecticut. They say North Windham, but
Damn,
like North Windham Hospital in Willimantic because they just don't want to put that shit on your birth certificate because they think it's gonna haunt you. You know? So, um,
I actually did
yeah,
a drug swab of my birth certificate because I was born there as well. Um,
yeah.
and it actually came up with trace amounts of heroin, believe it or not.
Yeah, yeah, I totally believe it. Yeah,
Yep.
I do. Just because of like the office you have to go into to get that birth certificate. Yeah, like it's in Heroin Town. Like,
Yeah.
oh, so yeah, that's a good way to start this. I was born in Heroin Town.
Mm.
So when Netflix first came out, if you went on Netflix and typed in the words Heroin Town in the search, that was Willimantic, the town I was born in.
I think the doc is still on YouTube,
Yeah, so
but you have to like rent it.
yeah, so my parents got divorced when I was real young. I don't ever remember my dad living in the same house as us. Which is whatever. The again, it's just the story that I got.
Mm.
Um, so my mom did a couple of different jobs, all the time to do what she could. My dad, we'd get visiting rights with him, me, my brother, and sister. I was the youngest of three. Um, 5 hours a week. He made all his payments, child support, as far as I ever knew. Did what he could. Probably could have done more. I probably could have done a lot less. Fuck, I know he could have done less. I
Yeah,
still talk to him, so
yeah.
fuck.
Your
There's a
dad's the
lot
man.
of
I
people
like
like,
your dad a lot.
yeah, and I mean, don't get me wrong. There's more I wish you had done. There's more I know he wishes he had done.
Mm.
But
Mm.
that's what it is to be human. To look back with honest retrospect and say, hey, this is the mistakes I made. But, so my mom struggled. We all struggled because it was three kids and, one income. And then when her father died, when her mother died,
Yeah.
um, nanny, she had a stroke and she fell and couldn't use the left side of her body.
Oh.
By and by, she ended up getting pneumonia. And since that side of the body didn't work, it got really bad and spread to the other lung. And once you get double lung pneumonia,
You're
you already
fucked.
have yeah. So when Nanny died, my ma like lost her shit. And she had already had a number of injuries. She
Wait, so
had
your mom was like relatively, because I know your mom and stuff. She was pretty like normal before this. You mean?
yeah.
Oh
As
wow.
far as like everything I understand, like my ma used to be, upstanding and all that shit, college degrees and stuff,
Yeah.
Um, and my dad's story, I don't know how much truth there is to it, but the story I heard was my mom went out one day with one of her friends and she came back and she put the groceries down and says to my dad, Terry, I ain't cooking, I ain't cleaning, and I ain't taking care of the kids no more.
Oh
My dad said,
fucked.
yeah. And my dad says, so what are you gonna do? My mom says, I ain't gonna do nothing.
Wow.
And okay, and this is just the story I heard, and
So it's just
sometimes
like she just
and
accepted defeat. She's just like, I'm so depressed and broken from this. Like I
well,
just
yeah,
can't do it
and no,
anymore.
this was before Nanny died.
Oh,
Yeah. This was like when my parents were still together.
well, that's what I'm saying. Like
Um,
I thought everything was normal, and then the nanny.
no, no, no. I guess that
Oh
was like really
wow.
the turning point. Yeah, because um, as far as I knew, I think it was a combination of two things. My mom had her wrist broken. She was driving school bus, right? And she had to throw a kid off the bus, because he was,
Being
I
a
think,
dick.
smoking a cigarette. Well, yeah, I think he was smoking a cigarette in the back of the bus,
Oh jeez.
Yeah. And, it was like an elementary school bus or middle
Oh
schoolers or whatever.
fucking
And
god.
she was like, get off the fucking bus, Ronnie. And so, like, she's like, hustling this kid off the bus, and then she goes to like like on the school bus how you got to use your wrist to like you got to use your arm to like swing that like weird
Yeah.
door mechanic thing. Well, the kid's on the outside and he's like jacking on it, and he ends up breaking her wrist doing it.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, and like it was such a weird way, and like it never got really taken care of. So she got on pills, and this was, the 90s. So it was have all the pills, why don't you?
Yeah.
Take some more. Yeah, we'll give you a discount if you get twice as many.
Yeah. No, we'll give you a
So,
discount if you go down to Florida.
yeah, right. So then, at the just about the same time, her mom has, a stroke and then dies, and it was just fucking downhill from there.
Wow. So that
Uh,
affected your childhood in a pretty negative way, right? I mean, like,
yeah,
explain
yeah,
the kind of household that you grew up in, like the
yeah,
squalor, because of this sort
That's
of like, because this is what happens because of this.
yeah, that's a good word to describe it. And yeah, I mean, I remember. The, uh, thanks
Oof.
for starting a day like this, buddy. Um,
I still got videos if you want me to send them to
yeah,
you.
no, it's shit I don't forget. That's the
Oof.
issue. Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember like having hard nights sleeping because I could hear the rats in the walls moving around all fucking night,
Yeah.
and like I'd wake up sometimes like I still have sleeping issues because like I'd never gotten a good habits when I was a kid because like I I could feel water sometimes when it would rain come through the walls and stuff in my bedroom,
Yeah.
and then like hearing the animals that lived inside of our house, not like pets, but like animals that lived in our house, like squirming around and moving and stuff. And the
Yeah.
few times like I remember waking up with stuff in my bed, like
Ooh.
feeling like rats and shit running around on me. And
Rough.
like I never talked to my brother or sister about this kind of stuff because like I know it hurts me.
But you
And
were just
like
assuming they were probably going through the same shit too, and just like,
no,
you know,
I did not think a fucking lick about anybody else but myself for the longest time. Just because like I I could barely exist as me.
yeah.
Like every day was like a fucking struggle. Waking up from that
Yeah,
and
you
then
were
having
very,
having
very depressed for a long
yeah,
time,
and
man.
then like and then that's home. And then I remember during the winter, we used to have to, because like all our shit would freeze up, we would run water from our neighbor's pond and then bring it to our house. So like we
Like in
had,
buckets.
yeah, and then we would heat it up, and that's how we would like wash ourselves.
Yeah.
So like
That's wild,
once a
dude.
week. So like once a week, I'd literally wash myself with the cloth in like a dirty ass bathtub and hope I didn't get sick
Yeah.
because there wasn't heat. It's the middle of fucking winter.
And hope
So
that like
then,
soap is
right,
enough to like make you smell
right,
kind of
and
good and like
and then
clean
the
you a little
next
bit.
day, I get to wake up and go to school and wear the shabbiest of clothes from the Salvation Army store
Yeah.
and get to hear everybody talk about how I smell and how I look dirty and how my hair's all fucked up and nasty. And like it was really difficult because I'm statistically smart.
Yeah, no,
So
and
like
you're a really good
yeah,
guy too. Like you're
well,
not a
that,
weird person by any means. You just you don't have
well
you
yeah,
didn't have the nicest of clothes maybe necessarily, but you're a really
well
smart guy,
yeah,
nice as fuck.
right. And then, you know, public education, everybody's treated reasonably the same. So it comes down to what you can take out of it,
Yeah.
which is really interesting because by the end of my high school career, I had gained enough knowledge to realize one, I didn't have the financial capability to go to college. I
Mm,
wasn't going to be able to swing that. Um, Pretty much one out of the three of us was going to be able to go to secondary schooling, and it was my
yeah.
sister because she had the shot. She was there, and I came to realize pretty much by the end of my high school career that I could make it on my own. I could get I could learn outside of the regular schooling system.
Yeah.
Um,
That's what I did
and
too at I dropped
um,
out, but I'm not proud of it by any means.
so it was really difficult. Um, Growing up like that, it didn't really get much better until my brother turned like 15.
Mm,
So when I was like 13, um, well, I started working on a farm when I was like 12, and my brother had started working there when he was like 13 or 14, maybe.
mm.
Um, God damn. Yeah. So,
Memories.
yeah, right. So, we started having a little extra money,
Yep.
literally us,
Yeah.
like just us, like, and then my brother went to a technical school, so he learned how to be a mechanic.
Mm.
And when he was 16, he was eligible to leave school, like, the last like 4 hours of the school day, and he could go and work at like a mechanic
Yeah,
shop
as
through
an
school.
apprentice.
So by the time he was 16, he was bringing home money to the family.
That's pretty dope.
Um, and this was about the time when um, I think this was under George W. at the time, or like the very end of his.
Mm.
There were some like HUD stuff, housing and urban development
Yeah.
programs,
Yeah.
and they came through and like my mom made so little money and had enough kids that she qualified for a program for them to come and like fix up our house. So like we got a new well. Oh
Yep.
man. So yeah, at one point a dog fell in our well
Oh
and like we
no.
didn't, yeah, so like for like 3 or 4 months like there was like a dead dog down in our well.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
fuck, dude. It's like
Yeah,
that
yeah.
hotel with the Chinese woman or whatever.
Bro, I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. So they came in and
Holy
gave
shit.
us a whole new roof. They ripped out
That's
like
so crazy.
one of our, like, we had this like spare room kind of thing, and they like took that whole thing off and re-sided the house and put in windows and stuff, and that was
Yeah.
like a huge change. Like it felt like one of those TLC shows.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like
Yeah.
we're really gonna make this house like updated, nicer. It's more
Right. I mean, don't
livable,
get me
a little
wrong. Like
cleaner.
don't get me wrong. Like there were still animals dead in the walls and
Yeah,
stuff, but
and
like,
like what
you
what?
know,
So it
it's
got
just,
fixed when you were like what 13 or something, right?
yeah,
And
13,
then
14,
so
maybe
I
right
met
around there.
you when you were like 17 or 18, and I was 15 or
Yeah.
16, something like that. And I
Yeah,
had
yeah.
slept over a bunch at your house. I think I was one of the few, and I
Yeah,
take
a
that as
couple
a badge of
people.
honor. Because
Yeah,
fucking, I didn't really give a shit. I just wanted to hang out with you. It was fun.
yeah, yeah,
And yeah, man, fuck. I mean, what
yeah.
happened? Was
Get
it a
real
lot better
sick.
than what I saw before?
Um, no, that was definitely like after it got fixed.
Okay.
Yeah, like that was
Wow.
definitely like afterwards. Yeah, because when I was growing up, there
But
was
like
a
way
big
after,
hole.
like
Yeah, there was a giant hole in our kitchen that like
dogs
you
could
could
fall
probably
into it well through.
well like it was big enough for like a printer to fit through. Like you might
Oh
be able
my
to fit
god,
like your
dude.
PC through it.
What the
So
fuck?
like
Hey,
we
mind the
had like
hole.
a well no, it was in the roof.
Oh,
Um
okay. I was like,
So
holy
that was
shit,
a
dude.
little bit that was probably a little bit worse realistically because when it would rain, we would all have to like take turns like waking up in the middle of the night to like
Changing a bucket and shit.
yeah,
Ah,
exactly. Yeah, so that
damn.
sucked too. Um but then once my brother started making money, um he started like providing. Um
That's cool.
and I mean I don't think anybody I know I never like really took him aside and thanked him for it just because he's um
Is
that
he the oldest?
yeah, yeah.
Well, then it's
It
fucking
sometimes
expected, boy.
well, it's not that it should never be expected. That's not his
What do you
fucking
mean?
job.
It's your
That
dude.
that
He's your
is
little.
no,
You're his little
no,
brother. You're
no,
his
no.
like.
That's
If
no,
your mom
no.
couldn't
What's
take care of
no,
you, what
no,
if you're
AJ,
like
no,
8 years old
no,
or 5 years old and your mom
no.
can't take
What's
care
it?
of you, but he's 15? Like he
Uh,
that you gotta understand, man. Like you could die, man, if no one's watching you or
yeah,
like you get really
yeah,
sick or
yeah.
like it's almost like his job. I mean, maybe that's just my opinion, of course, but
Well, no, no. Like, don't get me wrong. I think older siblings take care of their younger siblings, but like that wasn't his
like
fucking
up to a
job.
point, you know what I mean?
Right. That wasn't his duty. That
No,
wasn't what he should have had to done.
no,
You
like
know, he
not
should
bringing
have
money home and like he
right.
could
He
have
could have put,
bounced out.
that $2,000 a month. He could have taken that when he was 17 years old, and he could have changed his fucking future.
Yeah.
I mean, think of what you could have done at 17 with 2 grand a month. Finishing up high school. You're making 20, 30, $40,000 a year, and you're in fucking high school almost.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a good start. Really good start.
yeah, yeah. And instead, it was, I'm gonna fucking buy groceries. I'm gonna make sure there's fucking oil. Like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. This is how Pat gets his first car. This is how
Yeah.
Jen gets her first car. Like, that's what happened instead.
That's pretty
And
awesome.
I didn't find out till years later that he apparently had a really bad drinking problem when we were kids.
Oh shit.
Like I had no issue. I had no idea that that was an issue that was something he dealt with. Um, I guess that I there were a lot of things looking back that really should have jumped out at me. I remember we were in a small car accident. Um, we had just gone to a Boy Scout camp out, and it was like Sunday morning. We were all packing up, and he had borrowed our neighbor's Bronco, and I was in the passenger seat, and we were just driving past like where Woodstock is, where the train tracks are, where you saw that shit blow up.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, just down the way from there. Some of the telephone poles are just like way too close to the fucking road.
Yeah.
Like they're where the white line is, and it's a telephone pole. So we were going around that, and I guess my brother was drunk, and it was like 8:30 in the morning,
Ah.
and I was just rolling up my window, and he clips a telephone pole with a side view mirror on my side, and it fucking breaks that window, and I get all sorts of glass in my face and scalp and shit. No
Ah.
kidding. For like the next
Fuck.
2 weeks, I'm literally pulling out little pieces of safety glass out of my scalp, like under my fucking hair, like pulling out bloody chunks of shit still. Like,
Fuck.
man,
Ow.
yeah, but you know, uh, they say that having challenges in life makes you stronger.
Oh yeah,
So,
100%, dude.
I'm very thankful for where I'm at now. Sometimes, I get up in the morning, like where I'm sitting now. I'm sitting in front of a giant fucking 4K ultra high definition TV with a fucking gaming computer hooked up. I got a fucking studio mic with studio headphones.
Yeah.
I was just playing on my Xbox. Like, I'm drinking fancy coffee with palm sugar and shit.
Yeah.
Like,
And
I
there's no
mean,
like rodents living in your walls. Like
yo, for
you could
reals.
jump up and down
Like,
on the floor and not feel like you're gonna go through it.
Yeah, like
Like you can have more than two people in that one or any room in your place without
yeah,
going through the
yeah.
floor.
So I mean,
Yeah, dude.
it it's one of those things where I, for mental health, one of the things I learned to really like give yourself that boost when you wake up in the morning. I'm a big fan of rolling over, rubbing my dick on the bed, and then
Hump in
just
the
like
bed.
putting
Hump
it,
in the bed,
yeah,
man.
and
Yeah, we
then
all
just
do
like
it.
going back to sleep,
Oh yeah.
right?
We
But
all do
what
it.
I try and do now is I wake up and instead of going, I've got to go to work, I think, man, they pay me X amount of money. I
Mm.
get a career out of that. I have a job. I'm not living in my car with someone else.
Yeah, you're
Like
finding
I'm
the joy in
right,
everyone
right,
else's
exactly.
mundane like bullshit.
Right. You wake up and be thankful. Be like, hey man, I'm laying in a bed that's comfortable.
Yeah.
I have pillows. Like it's warm in here.
Yeah.
Like oh, there's food in the cabinet. Like wake up and be thankful
Yo,
that you woke up.
people take a lot of shit for granted, man.
Yo, for
And
real. Like
they should
any
really
day
start
could be
thinking
the
of the
day you die.
simplicities. Like really
Yeah.
simple things can make you really happy. Just having a
hmm
warm place to sleep in a comfy bed and food in your belly is really simple, but it makes
It
you
wasn't
really
always
happy.
there.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't always there and it won't always be.
Yeah.
So like be fucking thankful for what you got when you get it. Live in that moment.
Yes.
When you got a girl by your side, you look at her and she hugs you and you hug her back. Be fucking thankful that that's what you got going on. You got a dude laying next to you. You get to play with his little beard. Be fucking thankful that's what you get to do.
Yeah.
You got a little doggy that's sitting on your lap that loves you no matter what. Be happy, be thankful, it's
So I think that's a really good segment into some other stuff more about your life. Like we've talked about the beginning struggle, and then now you're much better off and way more successful.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, for
I
sure.
think I
Government
wanted
job
to
and shit.
ask you about marriage. You were married before. We don't have
Yeah.
to go too much into it if you don't want to, but I was curious: are you ever going to get married again? And what's kind of your opinion on all that? And like, what did you learn, if anything, from being with someone for a while? While I go have a quick bogey,
Oh, there you go.
because I've heard this story a bunch, but I just want our listeners to get to know you more.
Yeah, yeah. I was well, it's a funny start to it. I was working at a ski resort, and by, I knew somebody that was living in a boarding house, so I was going to hang out with them, and there was super cute Asian chick hanging out in their kitchen. I was like, "Hey, who's that?" They say, "Her name's Mai. Be nice." I rub my hands together, big mischievous smile, and I say, "I'm gonna be very nice." Lo and behold, we started, going on a couple of dates. Real nice, good person, good heart. Her name was Mai, is Mai. So she ain't dead. We're just divorced. Dated for a while. She was working at a resort as well. She was, I think, cleaning, doing like, cleaning rooms and stuff at a hotel. Um, and she was working there on a visa, and I really enjoyed her company. She was very sweet, um, innocent. She hadn't had a lot of the same experiences I had. I had at that point, I was already in my early 20s, so I had been through the ringer. I'd seen some shit. I moved around the country a little bit, gone, done this and that, and it was nice to spend some time with somebody that was genuine. Um, it, the reason we got married so quickly is that her visa was expiring, and just because of her age, she was also in her early 20s. This was the last opportunity she had through the visa programs to come and work as an exchange person working at a hotel. So it was either the option of get married and go through the process of getting a green card and having her stay here, or she has to go back home or overstays her visa illegally. That option three is not really an option. Um, and if she went back home, I'd have to either break off the relationship, never see her again, or do it long distance and go over there, some shit like that. Um, so lo and behold, did a lot of searching and figuring out for myself if I wanted to go forward in my life with the possibility of being really regretful in not doing something. You know, if I didn't get married, would I look back in 20 years and go, fuck, I messed up. I should have taken that chance and see what happened versus like what could go wrong? Like what's the worst that could happen? You know, we live together, you know, get married, do the life, you know, aren't happy, get divorced. So, you know, I figured I'd jump in and she was just as happy and got married. It's a nice small little thing. Yeah, AJ was there, all my close family, mother, father. Um, it was it was nice. The pictures came out great. She was absolutely beautiful. I, I looked nice. I was very thin at the time. Um, cocaine is one hell of a drug, and uh, we moved from where we were living to further up north in Vermont, so I could be closer to a job I had just gotten working for the state, and yeah, everything was going real well. Um, her cultural background being Vietnamese, she was very, very driven. Um, it's just part of their 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 culture. Their system is to work, 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 do more, do more, do more. Don't don't rest on your laurels. Don't sit back. Don't put your feet up. That not what her lifestyle was ever going to be, and it isn't now by any means either. Um, she worked 6 days a week, and she was always trying to push, you know, even more than that. You know, the one day a week she took off, she would think about like, oh, I could do more than this. And at the time, I was working 4 days a week, 4 10-hour days, and then I'd have, you know, a long weekend. She was always pushing to me, you know, do more, do more. You know, why don't you get a second job?
Diddy
It's like,
Mao. Diddy Mao.
yeah, yeah, right. And I was like, girl, I want to be able to, you know, cook our food, make sure stuff's nice. I want to rest. I want to, you know, I my job's not exactly easy. Not that hers was easy either. You know, being a nail technician isn't easy work, you know. You have to be very attentive, it's skillful, you know, but at the same time you got to be nice and all that shit so you get good tips, but you know,
Also,
working with
like the
customers.
manager or whoever runs the place may not be as friendly as
Oh
or
yeah, yeah.
they could be really friendly. Who knows? But
No,
most of the time it's
they
pretty like pressure. Go 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 because they make money off of
yeah,
clients getting them in and out.
exactly. Yep. Mm.
So like,
So
do you
it
think
just got to the
what do you think the downfall was? Like the
oh,
culture
I think it
difference
just
or
um no, I think it was personality wise because I've met some Viet that are just a little bit different.
mm,
Um I think you know, her family, her situation, and just like her personality as well. You know, I talked with her about it more than a few times about how that's just sort of who she was, and she wasn't. Uh, she was not exactly lovey-dovey.
yeah,
You know,
not the most like affectionate? Because some people like show love in
right?
different ways, like whether it's
Exactly.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
sex or maybe it's like by showing like gifts or something or sometimes it's just a
Right.
lot of verbal like affirmation like a lot of
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love you and things like that.
Right. And so there were just, you know, little things here and there that just, you know, for me didn't work out and for her didn't work out.
mm,
I know my personality is different from day to day, you know, depending on how I sleep or what, you know, what's going on. You know, I'm not exactly the most even person in the world. So it just got to a point where we both realized that we were looking for different stuff, you know, that we loved each other, but we didn't really enjoy our life together.
I see.
So it just got to the point where it's like, you know, we were together for 3 years. Yeah, about
Yeah.
3 years.
Yep.
Um, and you know, it went from dating to marriage very quickly. So it was a good relationship. It just got to the point where I think both of us realized, this isn't really working.
Yeah,
So
and like you
you
learn a
know,
bunch from it and then mutually
yeah,
just have a split up, right?
yeah, exactly. And it was amicable. There were no real issues. Um, okay, so she left, and I still live in the same apartment that we were living in beforehand.
Yep.
Um, and she moved eh, way out of state, 2,000 miles away. And I was looking at buying the house that I live in, and I had to borrow some money from my family. And one of the stipulations was that I had to get a contract from her saying that she wouldn't take any of my shit.
Yeah.
So I pushed her to sign something pretty much like that, like just an affidavit saying, like,
Yeah.
I understand you're trying to buy a house. I'm not going to take any of your shit. And it was a dick move. Like, she never would have tried doing anything. And I regret having done that. Not just because the purchase fell through or anything like that. It was just, a cruddy thing that's not her personality. She never would have done anything like that. And
Mm.
to like, it's like if me and you were doing something together, you would never have me sign something saying like, you're not going to take half of this business away from me, right?
Yeah, like
But-
we
right,
run a business
yeah,
together right now. We do
right,
this podcast that
right,
we've only
exactly.
this is just like work like we've have a verbal like agreement that like
Yeah,
we're not gonna just like
yeah,
change the way things work without going, in between us
right,
and talking and things like that. We don't sign anything, like it's just
right, exactly. So me
it's
doing that to her, even after we had split up, was still a jerk move. Like, I understand why
hey, I mean, it's all
like,
relative, man.
right.
Like maybe
Yeah,
some people are rolling their eyes saying, "Pat, what a fucking dick," or whatever. Like, or maybe they're saying,
right. And
"What
at
a
the same
pussy."
time, they're like, oh, right, exactly. Good thing she didn't take all your shit. Bro, I
Yeah, I
didn't
mean,
have shit to take.
yeah,
And,
it is
what
what it
little
is,
there
man.
was, she could have gone after.
And in the end,
She
it's
could have
how
asked for
you,
alimony level.
yeah,
Yeah.
and in the end, it's how you feel about it. How it
Right.
all went down.
And that's exactly my view on marriage in general.
Yeah. So would you do
I
it again?
think personally, no, probably not, just because I think in the few long term and like serious relationships I've been in, like I don't have a lot of faith in myself in that way. Like no, probably not. I don't think I
Hmm.
would. I couldn't see it in my future.
I
Um
think it's a smart
uh,
move for you.
but for other people, I think it's like the bee's knees. It's great for some people, like my buddy Matt. Like being married, that is all sorts of his deal. Like, he loves the fuck out of his wife. He will do. He's. We were just talking the other day. He's like, "Oh, Pat, looks like you're planning a trip to Vietnam again, huh?" And I was like, "Yeah, you should go. Bring your family there." He's like, "No, we're going to Disney again."
Haha,
And
nice.
yeah, like he just loves fucking Disney so much. Like, mowing his lawn.
Yeah,
Having
being
having.
that like dad. He likes
Yeah,
the dad
exactly.
life.
Yeah, and it's great for some people, but like I don't know, dude. I
Probably not for you, man.
Yeah, like
I agree. I
I
agree.
got no problem being a confirmed bachelor.
Yeah, man.
Don't get me wrong, like I'm definitely gonna go, how did Red put it? I want to drag my pineapple through their cabbage patch. It's, don't get me wrong, it's, I'm not, but yeah, whatever happens, happens. But my last relationship, soured me.
The land went sour. Um,
Yeah.
then the last question before we wrap it up, I wanted to ask you is like, what do you fear in life? Like whether it's
Ooh.
irrational or rational. Like, do you have some fears?
Yeah, man. Uh, so my biggest fear is that the things I really want to do, I won't. Pretty much full stop. Like a huge list of the goals I have in my life. I worry that I won't achieve those because I set lofty goals because they're hard to achieve. They're worthwhile
Mm.
life goals. Um, I worry that I'll die. Like I know I'm gonna die, and that
Do
scares me
you
all the time.
fear death?
Well, I mean, sort of, kind of, yeah. I hate the idea that like at
It
some
just
point the
stops.
machine, yeah,
Yeah.
and like I worry about getting sick in a way that like I can't fix. Like, sometimes when I breathe, like I wheeze a little bit because I smoke too much. And like, oh, if I stop smoking, okay, that would go away. But like, what if I get like cancer or something?
Mm,
Or like, you know, what if I get in a car accident real bad?
mm.
Like a guy I knew. Um,
Do you hold
he
on? Do you fear dying more than you do being like losing legs or like not being able to walk or maybe not being able to use your arms and legs? What's worse to you?
um ooh. So like legs, that's pretty rough, but that's more doable, you know? Like if I still had full use of my arms, pretty much everything above my hips, that
Mm.
that would be something because you can still like, keyboard, you can still computer game, you can still,
And probably use like
interact,
your
you can play
like you can
magic
pee
cards.
and poop correctly. Like you could use your arms and stuff to like be able to pee and poop by
Or even
yourself.
if you had to, yeah, even if you had to bag it up or whatever, you could still take care of
I
it.
like the way you
You know,
work
you could,
it.
yeah.
Got to
Whereas,
bag it up.
so like this guy, was fully functional. He was just a dick. Like he was just a fucking cocksucker from Connecticut.
So, oh
I
yeah,
knew up
yeah,
here in
person
Vermont.
you knew, yeah.
Um, and he was out riding his motorcycle. I think he had a couple of drinks. He probably will say
Oh
he didn't. I
shit.
probably did or didn't. Fucking whatever. He was out riding his motorcycle, and I knew the way he drove cars, and I assumed that's the way he drove
Oh
bikes.
fuck.
And exactly. So he ended up breaking his back like really, really high up. So he was a paraplegic. He couldn't use, he's still in a wheelchair.
Damn.
I think he can use his arms a little bit. The last time we interacted was like 3 years ago. And I think I recall him smoking a cigarette. But like even then it
I
was
think I
like,
recall him trying to kill himself
no, no, I
slowly.
mean, it was it was one of those things where like, man, that shit can happen at any point.
Yes.
Like one of my uh coworkers, she was driving home and um she got in a car accident head on and died.
Wow.
And it was literally just like, oh, just just like that. Just took nothing. You know, left one day, probably still had stuff in the fridge at work.
Wow.
Like, you know, it can
Very sudden
happen
and
just
very
like that.
quick, yeah.
Right. So
So
um
like that's
I
kind
don't
of what
leave a
you
lot
fear about
unsaid.
death? Like
Well,
you
no,
fear about the
no, like,
sudden quickness and how it just shuts off or like
oh yeah, yeah. I
that's
I
the
worry
fear.
that like, yeah, I worry that like today could be that the last
You could
day.
like die in your sleep.
Right.
So that like
Or
that's the number one kind of like fear, like that sort of
yeah.
irrational that you have, I would say.
Well, yeah, yeah,
And then a
yeah.
rational fear would be like losing what, not being able to do what you want to do, like losing your wealth or losing your place, like going back to kind of being a kid again, having nothing. You know, like that's a fear. That's a rational
Hmm.
fear, I would guess. You know,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
that's
I
something
mean,
that could happen. Easy. I
it's
think the
pretty hard to lose
probability.
my job. Like,
Well, yeah,
it's
but I
pretty
mean,
hard to lose my job.
I think the probability of you losing wealth in the term from now until
Yeah,
your
right.
70s when you have a higher chance of dying is probably
Mm-hmm.
higher than actually dying now.
Yeah.
But we didn't actually get into the okay. So what's worse to you, actual death or being paralyzed? Would you like if you were
Um,
paralyzed? Would you wish you were dead or like what's the
no,
deal?
probably not.
Probably not.
No, probably not. No, just because of like, life and stuff.
Yeah, I have
Yeah,
I have
there's still some things you can do because, like, um, especially with virtual reality, like I got a Quest 2, and like realistically, if you were in a wheelchair, like if you were a quadriplegic, right, no use of arms or legs, and it was just your head, if you can like, wiggle your head around, like you can look at like anything,
yeah,
like you can,
and you could still
go to the
learn
fucking
like
booth.
if you want to. Nice.
Exactly.
You could still read.
There's all sorts of stuff. And if you got in some sort of terrible accident, you probably get disability for the rest of your life and all that shit anyway. So like there's always that like hood rat part of me that's like, yeah, government stimmy checks.
Yeah. Um. Cool, man. Let's wrap it up then. I think that does it. That was good, man. I appreciate you telling us some stuff and letting us know some personal stuff about you. You know, it's not always easy,
Yeah.
but it is what it is. It might not have been a good story to some of the listeners, but it's a story, and you know, if you don't like it, go fuck yourself. So
Yeah. Yeah. That's if I could have changed it, I would have.
So
Yeah.
for plugs, me and my wife, we stream, you know, at least once a week. You can find us on Twitch, down below in the description section. And Pat, he's started up a YouTube channel himself. It is Pat the Pauper, and you could
Yep.
find him in the description down below on this episode as well. And we'll continue to put those out.
Yeah,
And
you'll
promote.
start seeing a little bit more over on my stuff there. I hope to be doing some more box openings. We're gonna get some video content in for it, so you'll actually get to see my wonderful hands.
Yes. Yes. And I mean, depending on, you know, if anyone cares, we might start doing video ourselves so you guys can see what we look like and see our reactions and all that good shit. It's all up in the air, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, put some comments down below. Put tell us what you want to hear. Like, subscribe, smash that button, all that, fucking happy YouTuber
Smash it
shit.
with your pee-pee head. Do it with something funny. Make it funny.
Put your pineapple on the keyboard.
Yeah, if you're gonna smash a like button, do it like, you know, make it original. Don't do it with your
Smash
just
it
your
like it's your
fingertip.
girlfriend.
Yeah, dude.
Smash it like it's your girlfriend.
Yeah, I like that one.
Okay.
All right,
Love
buddy.
you, dude. Talk
Love
to you
you
later.
too. Peace.
Hey, everybody, thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this podcast, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you'll be told when the next episode is out.